Hi guys, I'm back. Today's the 11th of July 2021. Today I'm going to read Numbers 19 to 23, Proverbs 11, and Psalm 44. Let's get started. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron. He said, Here's what the law I have commanded requires. Tell the Israelites to bring a young red cow. It must not have any flaws at all. It must never have pulled away. Give it to Eleazar the priest. It must be taken outside the camp and killed in front of them. Then Eleazar the priest must put some of its blood on his finger. He must sprinkle the blood toward the front of the tent of meeting. Well, he must do it 7 times. While he watches, the young cow must be burned. Its hide, meat, blood, and guts must be burned. The priest must get some cedar wood, branches of a hyssop plant, and bright red wool. He must throw them on the young cow as it burns. After that, the priest must wash his clothes. He must also take a bath. Then he can come into the camp. But the man will be unclean until evening. The man who burns the young cow must wash his clothes. He must also take a bath. He too will be unclean until evening. The man who is clean will gather up the ashes of the young cow. He must put them in a place that is clean. The place must be outside the camp. The ashes must be kept by the community of Israel. They will be added to the special water. The water will be used to make people pure from their sin. The man who gathers up the ashes of the young cow must wash his clothes. He too will be unclean until evening. This law is for the Israelites. It is also for the outsiders living among them. The law will last for all time to come. Anyone who touches a dead person's body will be unclean for 7 days. They must make themselves pure and clean with this special water. They must do it on the 3rd day. Then they must also do it on the 7th day. Then they will be clean. But suppose they do not make themselves pure and clean on the 3rd and 7th day. Then they will not be clean. Anyone who touches a dead person's body and does not make themselves pure and clean makes my holy tent unclean. They must be separated from Israel. The special water has not been sprinkled on them, so they are unclean, and they remain unclean. Here's the law that applies when a person dies in the tent. Anyone who enters the tent the tent will be unclean for 7 days. Anyone in the tent will also be unclean for 7 days. And anything in it that is open and has no lid will be unclean. Suppose someone is out in the country, and suppose they touch someone who is being killed by a sword, or they touch someone who has died a natural death, or they touch a human bone or a grave. Then anyone who touches any of those things will be unclean for 7 days. Here's what I want you to do for someone who is unclean. Put some ashes from the burned young cow into a jar. Pour fresh water on the ashes. Then a man who is clean must dip branches of a hyssop plant in the water. He must sprinkle the tent with it. Everything that belongs to the tent must be sprinkled with it. The people in the tent must also be sprinkled. Anyone who has touched a human bone or a grave must be sprinkled. So must anyone who has touched someone who is being killed. And so must anyone who has touched someone who has died a natural death. The man who is clean must sprinkle those who are unclean. That must be done on the 3rd and 7th days. On the 7th day, those who are unclean must be made pure and clean. Those being made clean must wash their clothes. They must take a bath, but then that evening they will be clean. But what if those who are unclean do not make themselves pure and clean? Then they must be separated from the community. They have made my holy tent unclean. The special water has not been sprinkled on them. They are unclean. This law will apply to all those people for all time to come. The man who sprinkles the special water must also wash his clothes. Anyone who touches the water will be unclean until evening. Anything that an unclean person touches becomes unclean, and anyone who touches it becomes unclean until evening. In the 1st month, the whole community of Israel arrived at the desert of Zin. They stayed at Kadesh. Miriam died and was buried there. The people didn't have any water, so they gathered together to oppose Moses and Aaron. They would argue with Moses. They said, "We wish we had died when our people fell dead in front of the Lord. Why did you bring the Lord's people into this desert? We and our livestock will die there here. Why did you bring us up out of you? Why did you bring us to this terrible place? It doesn't have any grains or figs. It doesn't have any pomegranate. any grapes or grain or fig. It doesn't have any grapes or pomegranates. There isn't even any water for us to drink. Moses and Aaron left the people. They went to the entrance to the tent of meeting. There they fell with their faces to the ground. Then the glory of the Lord appeared to them. The Lord said to Moses, "Get your walking stick. You and your brother Aaron gather the people together. Then speak to that rock while everyone is watching. It will pour out its water. You will bring water out of the rock for the community. Then they and their livestock can drink it." So Moses took the walking stick from the tent. He did just as the Lord had commanded him. He and Aaron gathered the people together in front of the rock. Moses said to them, "Listen, you who refuse to obey. Do we have to bring water out of this rock for you?" Then Moses raised his arm. He hit the rock twice with his walking stick. Water poured out, and the people and their livestock drank it. But the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, and he said, "You did not trust in me enough to honor me. You did not honor me as the holy God in front of the Israelites. So you will not bring this community into the land I am giving them." Those were the waters of Meribah. That's where the Israelites argued with the Lord, and that's where he was proven to be holy among them. Moses sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom. The messengers said, "The nation of Israel is your brother." They say, "You know about all the hard times we've had. Long ago our people went down into Egypt. We lived there for many years. The Egyptians treated us and our people bad. But we cried out to the Lord. He heard our cry. He sent an angel and brought us out of Egypt. Now here we are at the town of Kadesh. It's on the edge of your territory. Please let us pass through country. We won't go through any field of vineyard. We won't drink water from anyone. We will travel along the king's highway. We won't turn to the right or the left. We will just go straight through your territory." But the people of Edom answered, "We won't let you pass through here. If you try to, we'll march out against you. We'll attack you with sword." The Israelites replied, "We'll go along the main road. We can help livestock won't drink any of your water. If we do, we'll pay for it. They only want to walk through your country. That's all we ask." Again, the people of Edom answered, "We won't let you pass through here." Then the people of Edom marched out against them. They came with a large and powerful army. Edom refused to let Israel go through their territory, so Israel turned away from them. The whole community of Israel started out from Kadesh. They arrived at Mount Hor. It was near the border of Edom. There the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron. He said, "Aaron will join the members of his family who have already died. He will not enter the land I am giving to the Israelites. Both of you refused to obey my command. You did at the waters of Meribah. So get Aaron and his son Eleazar. Take them to Mount Hor. Take Aaron's official robes off him. Put them on his son Eleazar. Aaron will die on Mount Hor. He will join the members of his family who have already died." Moses did just as the Lord has commanded. The three men went up Mount Hor while the whole community was watching. Moses took Aaron's official robes off of him. He put them on Aaron's son Eleazar, and Aaron died there on top of the mountain. Then Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain. The whole community found out that Aaron had died, so all the Israelites mourned him for him for 30 days. The Canaanite king of the city of Arad lived in the Negev desert. He heard that Israel was coming along the road to Etham, so he attacked the Israelites. He captured some of them. Then Israel made a promise to the Lord. They said, "Hand these people over to us. If you do, we'll set their cities apart to you in a special way to be destroyed." The Lord gave Israel what they asked. He handed the Canaanites over to them. Israel completely destroyed them in their towns. So that place was named Hor. The Israelites traveled from Mount Hor along the way to the Red Sea. They wanted to go around Edom, but they grew tired on the way. So they spoke against God and against Moses. They said, "Why have you brought us up out of Egypt? Do you want us to die here in the desert? We don't have any bread. We don't have any water, and we hate this awful food." Then the Lord sent poisonous snakes among the Israelites. The snakes bit them. Many of the people died. The others came to Moses. They said, "We sinned when we spoke against the Lord and against you. Pray that the Lord will take the snakes away from us." So Moses prayed for the people. The Lord said to Moses, "Make a snake, put it up on a pole. Then anyone who is bitten can look at it and remain alive." So Moses made a bronze snake. He put it up on a pole. Then anyone who was bitten by a snake and looked at the bronze snake remained alive. The Israelites moved on. They camped at Oboth, and they started out from Oboth. Now it's camped in the Aya. They camped in Aya. It's in the desert on the eastern border of Moab. From there they moved on. They camped in the Zered Valley. They started out from there and camped by the Arnon River. It's in the desert that spreads out into the territory of the Amorites. The Arnon is the border of Moab. It's between Moab and the Amorites. Here's what the book of the Wars of the Lord says about it. Sing about Zahab in Suphah and the valleys. Sing about the Arnon and the slopes of the valley. They lead to the settlement called Ar. They lie along the border of Moab. From there the Israelites continued on to Beer. That was the well where the Lord spoke to Moses. He said, gather the people together. I'll give them water to drink. Then Israel sang a song. They said, spring up, you wells. Sing about the well the princes died. Sing about the well the nobles of the people died. All their rulers were holding their scepters and walking sticks. Then the Israelites went from the desert to Matan. They went from Matanav to Nahaliel. They went from Nahaliel to Bamoth. And they went from Bamoth to a valley in Moab. It's the valley where the high slopes of Pisgah look out over a dry and empty land. The Israelites sent messengers to speak to Sihon. He was the king of the Amorites. The messenger said to him, let us pass through your country. We won't go off the road into any field of vineyard. We won't drink water from any well. We will travel along the king's highway. We will just go straight through your territory. But Sihon wouldn't let Israel pass through his territory. He gathered his whole army together. Then he marched down into the desert against Israel. When he reached Jahaz, he fought against Israel. But Israel put him to death with their swords. They took over his land. They took everything from the Arnon River to the Jabbok River. But they didn't take over any of the land of the Ammonites. That's because the Ammonites had built strong forts along their border. The Israelites captured all the cities of the Amorites. Then they settled down in them. They captured the city of Heshbon. They also captured all the settlements around it. Sihon, the king of the Amorites, ruled in Heshbon. He had fought against an earlier king of Moab. Sihon had taken from him all his land all the way to the Arnon River. That's why the poet said, come to Heshbon, let it be built again. Let Sihon's city be made as good as new. Fire went out from Heshbon. A blaze went out from the city of Sihon. It burned up Ar in Moab. It burned up the citizens who lived on Arnon's hills. Moab, how terrible it is for you. He called Chemosh. You are destroyed. Chemosh has deserted his sons and daughters. His sons have run away from the battle. His daughters have become prisoners. He's handed all of them over to Sihon, the king of the Amorites. But we have taken them over. Heshbon's rule has been destroyed all the way to Dibon. We have destroyed them as far as NIRV. NIRV goes all the way to Medeba. So Israel settled in the land of the Amorites. Moses sent spies to the city of Jazer. The Israelites captured the settlement around. They drove out the Amorites who were there. Then they turned and went up the road toward Bashan. Og was the king of Bashan. He and his whole army marched out. They went to fight against the Israelite Edrei. The Lord said to Moses, do not be afraid of Og. I have handed him over to you. I have given you his whole army. I have also given you his land. Do to him what you did to Sihon, the king of the Amorites. He ruled in Heshbon. So the Israelites struck down Og and his sons. They wiped out his whole army. They didn't leave anyone alive. They took over his land for themselves. Then the Israelites traveled to the plains of Moab. They camped along the Jordan River across from Jericho. Balak saw everything that Israel had done to the Amorites. Balak was the son of Zippor. The Moabites were terrified. Because there were so many Israelites. In fact, the Moabites were filled with panic because of the Israelites. The Moabites spoke to the elders of Midian. They said, this huge mob is going to destroy everything around us. They'll lick it up as an ox licks up all the grass in the field. Balak, the son of Zippor, was the king of Moab at that time. He sent messengers to get Balaam. Balaam was the son of Beor. Balaam was at the city of Bethel, near the Euphrates River. Bethel was in the land where Balaam had been born. Balak told the messengers to say to Balaam, a nation has come out of Egypt. They are covering the face of the land. They've set up camp next to me. So come and put a curse on these people. They are too powerful for me. Maybe I'll be able to win the battle over them. Maybe I'll be able to drive them out of the land. I know that whoever you bless is blessed, and I know that whoever you cursed is cursed. The elders of Moab and Midian left. They took with them the money they knew Balaam would ask for. They wanted him to use evil magic to figure things out for them. They came to where Balaam was, and they told him what Balak had said. Spend the night here, Balaam said to them. I'll report back to you with the answer the Lord gives me. So the Moabite officials stayed with him. Moses came to Balaam. He asked, who are these men with you? Balaam said to God, Balak, king of Moab, son of Zippor, sent me a message. He said, a nation has come out of Egypt. They are covering the whole surface of the land. So come and put a curse on them for me. Maybe I'll be able to find them. Maybe I'll be able to drive them away. Moses said to Balak, do not go with them. You must not put a curse on those people. I have blessed them. The next morning, Balaam got up. He said to Balak's officials, go back to your own country. The Lord won't let me go with you. So the Moabite officials returned to Balak. They said, Balaam wouldn't come with us. So then Balak sent other officials, who were more important than the first one, and the other more. They came to Balaam. They said, Balak the son of Zippor says, don't let anything keep you from coming to me. I'll make you very rich. I'll do anything you say. So come and put a curse on those people for me. But Balaam gave them his answer. He said, Balak could give me all the silver and gold in his house. Even then, I still couldn't do anything that goes beyond what the Lord my God commands. Now spend the night here so that I can find out what else the Lord will tell me. At night God came to Balaam. He said, these men have come to get you, so go with them, but do only what I tell you to do. Balaam got up in the morning. He put a saddle on his donkey. Then he went with the Moabite officials. But God was very angry when Balaam went. So the angel of the Lord stood on the road to oppose him. Balaam was riding on his donkey. His two servants were with him. The donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road. The angel was holding a sword. He was ready for battle. So the donkey left the road and went into a field. Balaam hit the donkey. He wanted to get it back on the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow path. The path went through the vineyard. There were walls on both sides. The donkey saw the angel of the Lord, so it moved close to the wall. It crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, so he hit the donkey again. Then the angel of the Lord moved on ahead. He stood in a narrow place. There was no room to turn either right or left. The donkey saw the angel of the Lord, so it lay down under Balaam, and that made him angry. He hit the donkey with his walking stick, and the Lord opened the donkey's mouth. He said to Balaam, what have I done to you? Why did you hit me these 3 times? But Balaam answered the donkey. He said, you have made me look foolish. I wish I had a sword in my hand. If I did, I'd kill you right now. The donkey said to Balaam, I'm your own donkey. I'm the one you've always been. Haven't you been riding me to this very day? Have I ever made you look foolish before? No, he said. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes. He saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road. He saw that the angel was holding a sword. The angel was ready for battle. So Balaam bowed down. He fell with his face to the ground. The angel of the Lord spoke to him. He asked him, why have you hit your donkey 3 times? I have come here to oppose you. What you are doing is foolish. The donkey saw me. It turned away from me 3 times. Suppose it had not turned away. Then I would have certainly killed you by now. But I would have spared the donkey. Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, I have sinned. I didn't realize you were standing in the road to oppose me. Tell me whether you are pleased with me. If you want, I'll go back. The angel of the Lord said to Balaam, go with me, but say only what I tell you to say. So Balaam went with Balak's officials. Balak heard that Balaam was coming, so he went out to meet him. They were at a Moabite town near the Arnon River. The town was on the border of Balak's territory. Balak said to Balaam, didn't I send messengers to you? I wanted you to come quickly. So why didn't you come? I can make you very rich. Well, I've come to you now, Balaam replied, but I can't say whatever I please. I can only speak the words God puts in my mouth. Then Balaam went with Balak to Kiriath-Huzoth. Balak sacrificed cattle and sheep. He gave some to Balaam. He also gave some to the officials with him. The next morning, Balak took Balaam up to Bamoth. From there, he could see the outer edges of the Israelite camp. Balaam said to Balak, build me 7 altars there. Here, prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me to sacrifice. Balak did just as Balaam said. The 2 of them offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Then Balaam said to Balak, stay here beside your offering. I'll go and try to find out what the Lord wants me to do. Maybe he'll come and meet with me. Then I'll show you what he says to me. So Balaam went off to a bare hilltop. God met with him there. Balaam said, I've prepared 7 altars. On each altar I've offered a bull and a ram. The Lord put a message in Balaam's mouth. The Lord said, go back to Balak. Give him my message. So Balaam went back to him. He found Balak standing beside his offering. So all the Moabite officials were with him. Then Balaam spoke the message he had received from God. He said, Balak brought me from the land of Aram, and the king of Moab sent for me from the mountains in the east. Come, he said, put a curse on Jacob's people for me. Come, speak against Israel. And how can I put a curse on people God hasn't cursed? How can I speak against people the Lord hasn't spoken against? I see them from the rocky peaks. I view them from the hills. I see a group of people who live by themselves. They don't consider themselves to be one of the nations. Jacob's people are like the dust of the earth. Can dust be counted? Who can count even a fourth of their lives? Let me die as godly people die. Let my death be like this. Balak said to Balaam, what have you done to me? I brought you here to put a curse on my enemies. For all you have done is give them a blessing. He answered them, I have to speak only the words the Lord puts in my mouth. Then Balak said to Balaam, come with me to another place. You can see the Israelites from there. You won't see all of them. You will only see the outer edges of their camp. From there, put a curse on them for me. So Balak took Balaam to the field of Zophim. It was on the highest slopes of Pisgah. There Balak built 7 altars. He offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Balaam said to Balak, stay here beside your offering, and I will meet with the Lord over there. The Lord met with Balaam. He put a message in Balaam's mouth. The Lord said, go back to Balak, give him my message. So Balaam went back to Balak. He found him standing beside his offering. The Moabite officials were with him. Balak asked him, what did the Lord say? Then Balak spoke the message he had received from God. He said, Balak, rise up and listen. Son of Zippor, hear me. God isn't a mere human. He can't lie. He isn't a human being. He doesn't change his mind. He speaks, and then he acts. He makes a promise, and then he keeps it. He has commanded me to bless them. He has given them his blessing, and I can't change it. I don't see any people coming on the people of Jacob. I don't see any suffering in Israel. The Lord, their God, is with them. The shadow of their king is among them. God brought them out of Egypt. They are as strong as a wild ox. There isn't any magic that can hurt the people of Jacob. No one can use magic words to harm Israel. Here's what will be said about the people of Jacob. Here's what will be said about Israel. People say, see what God has done. The Israelites are going to wake up like a female lion. They are going to get up like a male lion. They are like a lion that won't rest until it eats what it is caught. They are like a lion that won't rest until it drinks the blood of what it is killed. Then Balak said to Balaam, don't put a curse on them at all, and don't give them a blessing at all. Balaam answered, didn't I tell you that I must do only what the Lord says? Then Balak said to Balaam, come, let me take you to another place. Perhaps God will be pleased to let you put a curse on the Israelites for me from there. Balak took Balaam to the top of Mount Peor. It looks out over a dry and empty land. Balaam said, build me 7 altars here. Prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me to sacrifice. Balak did just as Balaam said. He offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Proverbs 11. The Lord hates it when people use scales to cheat others, but he is delighted when people use honest ways. When pride comes, shame follows, but wisdom helps those who are not proud. Those who do right are guided by their honest lives, but those who are unfaithful are destroyed by their lies. Wealth isn't worth anything when God judges you, but doing what is right saves you from death. The ways of honest people are made straight because they do what is right, but those who do what is wrong are brought down by their own sins. Other people are saved by doing what is right, but those who are unfaithful are trapped by evil wrongs. Those placed in human beings will die with them. Everything their power promised comes to nothing. Those who do right are saved from trouble. And trouble comes on those who do wrong. With their words, ungodly people destroy their names. But those who do what is right escape because of their knowledge. And those who do right succeed, their city is life. And those who do wrong die. People shout for joy. The blessing of honest people builds up a city. But the words of sinners destroy it. Whoever makes fun of their neighbor has no sense. But the one who has understanding controls their tongue. Those who talk about others will tell secrets. But those who can be trusted keep the secrets of others. Without guidance, a nation falls. But many good advisors can bring victory to a nation. Whoever promises to pay for what someone else owes will certainly suffer. But a person who doesn't agree to pay someone else's bill is safe. A woman who has a kind heart gains on, but men who are not kind gain only wealth. Those who are kind benefit themselves, but mean people bring ruin on themselves. An evil person really earns nothing. But the one who plans what is right will certainly be rewarded. Surely right living leads to life, but whoever runs after evil finds death. The Lord hates those whose hearts are distant, but he is pleased with those who live without blame. You can be sure that sinners will be punished, and you can also be sure that godly people go free. A beautiful woman who has no sense is like a gold ring in a pig's nose. What godly people long for ends only in what is good, but what sins hope for ends only in God's anger. One person gives freely but gets even richer. Another person doesn't give what they should but gets even poorer. And anyone who gives a lot will succeed. Anyone who renews others will be renewed. People ask for bad things to happen to those who store up grain for themselves, but people who ask for God's blessing on those who are willing to serve. Anyone who looks for what is good will be blessed. Bad things will happen to a person who plans to do evil. Those who trust in their riches will fall, but those who do right will be as healthy as green leaf. Those who bring ruin on their families will receive nothing but wind, and foolish people will set wise people. The fruit that godly people bear is like a tree of life, and those who are wise seek life. Godly people get what they should get on earth, so ungodly people and sinners will certainly get what they should get. Psalm 44. God, we have heard what you do. Those who came before us have told us what you did in days long ago. By your power you drove out the nations. You gave our people homes in the land. You crushed the people who were there, and you made our people do well. They didn't win the land with their swords. They didn't gain success by their own power. Your powerful right hand and your mighty arm gave them victory. You gave them success because you love them. You are my king and my God. You give victories to the people of Jacob. With your help, we push back our enemies. By your power, we walk all over them. I put no trust in my bow. My sword doesn't bring me victory. But you give us victory over our enemies. You put them to shame. All day long, we talk about how great God is. We will praise your name forever. But now you have turned your back on us and made us humble. You don't march out with your armies anymore. You made us turn and run from our enemies. They've taken what belongs to us. You handed us over to be eaten up like sheep. You have scattered us among the nations. You sold your people for very little. You didn't gain anything when you sold. You made us something that our neighbors laugh at. Those who live around make fun of us and tease us. The nations make jokes about us. They shake their heads at us. All day long I have to live with my shame. My face is covered with it. That's because they laugh at me and attack me with their words. They want to get even with me. All of this happened to us, even though we had not forgotten you. We had not broken the covenant you made with us. Our hearts have not turned away from you. Our feet have not wandered from your path. But you crushed us and left us to the wild dogs. You covered us over with deep darkness. We didn't forget our God. We didn't spread out our hands in prayer to a false God. If we had, God would have discovered it. He knows the secrets of our hearts. Because of you, we face death all day long. You consider our sheep to be good. Lord, wake up. Why are you sleeping? Get up. Don't say no to us forever. Why do you turn your face away from us? Why do you forget our pain and troubles? We are brought down to the dust. Our bodies lie flat on the ground. Rise up and help us. Save us because of your faithful love. Now that's done, I should now do the Lord's Prayer. Please bow your heads. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as you also forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. See you tomorrow. Bye.